I thought we would go with a nipless tea, but looks like we ran out of the tea, so I'm sorry about it. So we are good with the warm water today. What's up, guys? I'm Dr. Salas back here again in the channel. I have a very good friend of mine with me, Dr. Faragallah. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you, Dr. Salas.
And thank you so much for being here with
It's my pleasure.
my friends in the YouTube channel as well.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Hopefully we will be able to make some good informative video, at the same time fun video, so that you guys can utilize or implement in your journey as well. How are you doing, Dr. Faragallah?
Doing great. Golden weekend this week.
Wow, that's a blessing, having a golden weekend in residency. I'm doing floor rotations right now.
Yeah, I feel you.
Today morning I came after night, and then I haven't slept. Maybe you can see it in my face as well. And tomorrow morning I'm going for the day, so it's horrible right now. But let's see. I think it will be fine by tomorrow. But golden
You're
weekend,
going to work tomorrow,
they're the best.
morning or evening?
Morning. That's the worst.
The most difficult.
Yeah. But yeah, we will get through it. Residency is kind of difficult, but not as much.
Just
right?
3 years.
Yeah, just 3 years. So yeah, how do you like New York? Did you always wanted to come to New York, or wherever it was fine?
Well, New York was me. The image I had about New York was the movies image.
Wow, yeah. Friends.
Yeah, these things, these kind of things. So when I came to New York, initially I was shocked. I thought it would be like a paradise.
Wow.
But it was just a city.
That's basically the image of everyone about New York. I know.
But there are a lot of things I like in New York. It has a lot of parks.
Yeah.
It has a lot of green areas.
Right.
And the more thing I like about New York is the diversity.
Yeah.
It's the whole world in one city.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You won't feel alone here.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
You'll find all the ethnicities and all the kinds of people here. You'll fit anywhere you want.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you'll find whatever food you want, whatever. Like if I'm a Middle Eastern, I can easily find a Middle Eastern food. You're from Nepal,
I can find everything from Nepal. That's true. So coming from Egypt, did you have any kind of cultural shock over here? Did you find any difficulty adjusting?
Yeah, sure. Because I came from a small village.
Right.
So it's a tiny village in Egypt. And this is the hugest city.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
The Big Apple.
There everyone.
So much difference, yeah.
Everyone, and wherever you go, they greet you, and they are very kind. But here, no one cares.
Yeah, but your friends care.
Friends, of course, if you have friends. But other world, it's. I mean, in some way, it's advantageous. What do you say? But in some ways, it can be difficult as well. When you have really low moment, you might not have friends. If you don't have friends from back home, then it would be difficult, of course. Yeah.
But we made good friends here in residency.
In the residency, of course. Yeah, I like everyone.
We're like a family here, big family.
And that's the good part. We come from different country, and we try to learn from each other, and then we become friends.
Yeah.
So I think the best part of our program is the same. Everyone is so helpful. So I love it here.
Everyone is everyone's friend.
Yeah. New York, would you suggest anyone to come to New York?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm glad that the first place this is the first time for me ever to travel outside this. I mean, basically it's not the first time, it's the second time. But even the first time to travel outside my country was to New York as well.
Wow.
So I feel I'm grateful that I came to New York.
That's right.
Yeah. Because the whole world is in one city.
Right. So you were saying the best part of the New York you liked the most was about the transport?
Well, yes. Yeah, we talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
here you don't need to have a car. I don't know how to drive,
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
so I can go everywhere at any time easily using the subway. It's an extensive,
Cheap.
yeah, an extensive network here in New York.
Right,
Subway and the buses as well.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't have to use Uber.
That's true.
It's so expensive.
And I think Uber is more expensive, more time consuming than the buses and the subway. So I actually agree on it. I was in Michigan, and I was using the public transport there. I didn't have car, and waiting for the bus for 20 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. It's horrible. And during the winter, it's kind of really bad. And then I came here
Yeah.
for my step 3. My friends were here, so I came here and it was a lot different, and I felt more comfortable. It was a lot easier to travel. So yeah, that's the best part of the New York.
Yeah. It's always alive as well.
Yeah. You're going to Times Square. It's fun as. I'm sorry. So yeah, of course, going to Times Square is always a fun. It's kind of crowded, but then it's happening. Like there are a lot of restaurants where you can go. You can get any kind of food you want and enjoy the vibe. It's really nice. So going back, on your timeline, when did you start? Like when did you think of
USMLE.
starting your USMLE?
When I was about to finish my medical school. Yeah. So I studied medicine in Egypt. It was like 7 years studying.
Right.
So after that, I had to work in a primary care unit for 2 years. So during this time, I decided to start studying the USMLE. I think in 2016, I started to study. I took my step 1 in 2017. After that, I applied to pediatrics residency in Egypt. So, and the residency is you'll always be busy.
Right.
You'll have no time to study. So I stopped studying for almost 1 year. And in 2018, I resumed I began to study step 2.
Right.
And a few months later, I took step 2.
Right.
After that, the COVID era started.
That was difficult.
Yeah.
That was the most difficult part. Step 1, step 2, I think you can sit and study step 1 and step 2. But the interruptions because of COVID was terrible for me. I wanted to give at certain point, but then
You were
COVID
in
happened.
Nepal back in this time.
Back in Nepal. I was preparing for some date,
Yeah.
and then COVID happened, and all the centers were closed. Now you have to reset everything. The rhythm is disturbed. So yeah, that was kind of hard. So during this process, like coming from Egypt, what are the common difficulties or hurdles that a resident or a medical student can face? Did you have any kind of hurdles? Like for me, personally, deciding to come to US is the most difficult one. You have to leave your parents.
Yeah.
You have to leave your country, and you don't know when you are going to go back.
Yeah.
You miss them a lot. That is the one of the difficult part, and the other one is finance. How much you work, you won't earn enough to pay for your own USMLE journey, so you will be in a lot of loan. So those were the two most difficult part, and in fact this process are also difficult, but then those two things were the major factors for me. So, what are the difficulties that a medical student faces back from, like in Egypt, when he or she decides to come to US?
For me, I had a ridiculous difficulty that shouldn't have been there. Well, the dean didn't know about the USMLE.
Oh yeah,
And he
wow.
had to sign some paper.
Yeah, the MSPE.
Yeah. And he thought like I'm getting him sign his.
Document and then give it.
Yeah, I mean, he was so ridiculous. He thought he's signing the contract for his house for me or something like that. Yeah, his house to me.
Which he didn't want.
Yeah, I spent 3 weeks
Wow.
trying to convince him to sign this paper.
That's such
He was
nonsense.
and angrily by the end of those 3 weeks. I was anxious all this time. I studied a lot. I paid a lot of money, and I want to sit for the exam. And he was refusing to sign a paper that I studied in this medical school. It was ridiculous.
It was nothing.
Yeah,
It was
but
nothing to
later-
sign. This happens
He signed
sometimes.
it.
Like, if it is a new thing for people, then they are kind of hesitant about it.
Yeah.
So I understand why he was hesitant about it, but still, he was in a position that he should make decisions.
A few more things as well. I mean, for me, the difficulty was to convince my mother that I have to study this, and I have to convince her that I want to travel outside Egypt to leave her,
Yeah.
and to collect the money to pay for the expenses of the USMLE. And in
That's right.
Egypt, we had a financial crisis,
Right.
and there's a big change in the currency. So a lot of Egyptian pounds doesn't mean nothing for a single dollar.
Yeah.
So it was a difficulty as well. And the most difficult part was getting a B1, B2 visa.
Wow.
Yeah, to sit for step 3. I was rejected once. I was about to lose hope.
Wow.
Yeah, but thank God, later
Some things are bound to happen, you know. I also felt the same way when I was applying for my B1, B2 visa.
yeah,
It was COVID time, and there were very limited slots for B1, B2. All of my friends got the appointment, and I was without any appointment. I was hopeless. I thought that this is done.
yeah,
All of my investment, all of my hard work, all of my step 1, step 2 studies, it has gone in vain. But then later on, thankfully, I got an appointment. It was a little bit late than my friends got, but then I eventually got it, and then I got the B1 visa, B2 visa. I didn't get rejected, thankfully again. But yeah, I got it. So yeah, some things are bound to happen. You were
and the small advice for our friends. I got rejected, so I applied to get the visa to take the step 3 exam, and I got rejected because I was anxious. I was not too prepared. I was not able to answer the questions because I was anxious.
right.
So after 3 months, I applied again. It was during the COVID time, and thank God I was able to find a spot. So
I think that's part of learning.
you have
as
to
well.
be prepared for the visa appointment.
That's part of learning. You know, your interview starts from there.
Yeah,
You know, it's not the interview. I think it's a basic life skill that you have to talk with people, and I have worked a lot for it, a lot. You are also an introvert.
yeah,
I'm also an introvert, and to talk in front of people, to talk, and also I had a lot of social anxiety issues.
yeah.
Even to talk about a small thing, I could not. In front of people, if I had something to say about any difficulties I'm having, I could not. And
But this is compensated by those things.
of course, of course,
Creativity increased.
of course, yeah. But I did work a lot. I showed you a couple of books that I went through. and what are the things that I should be keeping in mind. I was very conscious about how I talk, how I present. I constantly put myself in the situations where I had to talk.
Yeah.
So that made me better in my interviews and all those things and all the skills. So yeah, I think it's for the same for all the people. Like I believe it is easier for the extroverts
Yeah.
to
Much
talk,
easier.
but for introverts and shy people, it's kind of difficult. But then it's not impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
Yeah, of course.
Just persistence, hard work,
Yeah.
using a little bit of. Because
Yeah,
introverts seem to be more intelligent or more creative.
I don't know. I don't want to say this in front of my, subscribers or people who are watching us, because I have friends who are really, really good with speaking to other people, and they know how to make things happen.
Yeah.
That's a good part,
I'm just praising us.
Yeah. That's right. How was your interview experience?
You mean the interview for the match?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know the interview for B1, B2 was you were kind of nervous, but definitely from there you learned something, and then you moved on, and then you got the interviews again, and then came to US for your step.
So
right?
I first applied to the match before getting my B1, B2 visa, because I had the ECFMG certificate
Right.
after passing the step 1, step 2 and OET. So I just thought, why shan't I just use it?
Right.
Okay, I applied, but not extensively. I applied only to 30 programs, so I will not have to pay a lot of money.
Right.
So I got about 3 or 4 interviews. I think I was a little bit careless because I thought I'm not matching anyway. So I haven't matched in this season. I was anxious, being an introvert, and because English is not my native language.
Right.
So I was anxious during the interviews. I just stayed calm like this. I was anxious to answer any
Not talking
question,
too much.
to be engaged in any
Yeah,
conversation.
not trying to getting engaged and then get over the
and
interview.
this gives a really, really bad impression. Yeah, to the
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think my first interview session was also like that. I felt like I don't need to make any unnecessary conversation with the people or the candidates there. But after getting matched and coming here, I realized that it's really important. And then they also evaluate how you try to get engaged yourself with the people and how friendly you are.
Yeah.
So it's important. Interviews, a lot of things matters, and this also matters, right?
Yeah. The most important thing is being interactive.
That's true. In my first application cycle, I didn't get matched. I applied for a lot of programs, and that was for me the most difficult part during this cycle.
Yeah.
So you said you only applied for 30, and then you got like 3-4 interviews. Wow, that's amazing. With 3-4 interviews, if we are not careless, I think even with 1 or 2 interviews we can get matched.
Yeah.
But you have to be
focused,
and you have to know what you are doing, and not try to avoid the things that we talked about.
So what have you done in your first cycle?
It was crazy. I did not take a lot of time to take my step 2. Step 1 I took a lot of time, 1 year, 1.5 year, studied for 1.5 year, and then took step 1. And then for step 2 I took only 6 months. I was also working at the same time, and it was COVID time, so it was crazy.
Yeah.
My plan was to get matched in that cycle as soon as possible. So applied for a lot of programs, 116 programs, and I got like.
You applied to 160 programs.
116.
Oh.
So that was a lot, and I got interviews from 7-8. Actually, it was 8 programs, and among them one was pre-match. So I did not get matched, but I believe that was enough for you to get matched if you had worked enough. But I did not get matched.
You didn't have any US clinical experience?
No clinical experience, no step 3, nothing. And people get matched in that way as well. So I decided to go for it. My friend from same medical school, same class, they got matched in their first application cycle without any clinical experience, without step 3.
Oh my, yeah.
That's crazy, right? But it is possible. You have to be very prepared for it. There are disadvantages and advantages of applying.
Were you
so early.
disappointed after getting not matched?
A lot. I was disappointed because I thought I worked hard for it. I had a good scores as well.
So what did you change in the second cycle?
I changed a lot. The first one is I definitely knew my communication was not good. That was the only reason I did not get matched. So I worked on it. I came to US and then increased my clinical experiences.
Yeah.
And step 3, of course, that helped me a lot. And during all these processes, my way of talking with people, my way of engaging with the communication with the friends and people around me, it got a lot better. Even I in fact, I started doing the YouTube channel. I started looking in the camera and then talking to myself. So that helped a lot. So yeah, those were the things that I changed in my first application cycle and then in my second application cycle, and I think that helped me a lot. So what was your experience?
So after not getting matched in the first cycle, I applied to the visa again. I got it. So I decided to study for step 3. I had no time to get a US clinical experience. So I still applied again to the match. That was in I got the visa in August.
Right.
And I had no time to study, so I had only 2 months to study.
Step 3?
For step 3. I took it in October, but I applied in September.
Right.
I didn't care much about the match. All my thoughts was to be focused on the USMLE step 3 exam.
Right.
And later I could take like 2 or 3 months of USMLE clinical experience. Rotations, any rotations, externships or observerships. But I applied to only 30 programs.
Again?
Because I still had the ECFMG certificate valid. So I just applied.
That was a quick skip. You applied 30 programs in your first and then 30 in second.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
saves a lot.
I got 4 interviews. And so I sat my first interview right after getting the USMLE step 3 score to update the program about how much I passed step 3.
Wow.
So they will like me. It will give me an advantage. So I was anxious not to pass step 3 because I had no time to prepare for it.
Right.
So I had no time. I was anxious. I had no time to prepare for the interview. So the thing I told myself that I will not match in this program anyway. So make it like a training for the rest of the interviews.
Right.
So instead of being anxious, I was myself.
Okay.
I was interactive. I was asking silly questions like the silly me would ask.
Right.
So I was myself. I had no fear. I had no anxiety, or I was not worried. So I think it was a good interview.
That's right. I mean, if you are not anxious, then it makes your interview and communication a lot better.
I was me.
Right.
So 30 minutes after my interview, I asked the program coordinator to send me the emails for the attendings that
interviewers.
Yep. So 30 minutes after the interview, I was relaxed. I was eating.
You got the interview there.
I got the offer. Yeah.
And then accepted it. Yeah, that's
it was
what happened.
Unexpected. Super happy.
So for me as well, it was a similar experience.
Yeah.
I was with one of the interviewers. It was not so good, so I was kind of nervous initially, and then I thought I'm gonna ruin this interview as well. Let me be calm, and then make the best out of the remaining interviewers. So I went being less nervous, and then it was okay. I thought that I would not get matched in this program because I ruined my interview with the first interviewer, and I completed my interview at around 3, and then until 6:30 I was kind of anxious, and then I was thinking of I should be improving a lot, and this is not happening again. But I checked the interview, my email.
Yeah.
Looked like I got offer at around like 3:30, and I was anxious for no reason until 6:30. So it was crazy experience.
Yeah, but we have to be grateful. I mean, for
Of course,
yeah.
the program has offered us a lot.
Yeah.
Nothing less than grateful.
Yeah.
Right. I think we have talked a lot. I don't want
Yeah.
to make it too long and boring video. Rather, I'm gonna conclude the video. So, do you have any kind of suggestions for people who are starting their USMLE journey?
For starting,
Uh-huh.
so I mean, I would advise them to study very well for the USMLE steps, especially for step 2,
Uh-huh.
since it's, I mean, the big deal now.
Right.
To take a step 3 if they can.
Mm-hmm.
And to get some US clinical experience, it helps a lot.
Right.
And the third thing would be during the interviews, the match season, to be yourself, not to be anxious,
Right.
to practice a lot with your friends or anyone on Zoom, even with yourself on Zoom.
Right.
And during the interview itself, do not be too shy to say anything.
Right.
Because if you say nothing, nothing will happen. They will not see you. You have to express yourself, to be interactive, to be engaging.
Right.
Yeah. To sell yourself.
Right.
You have to sell yourself.
That's true.
Yeah.
I agree. So I think the interview part, if you guys are also shy talking to people, then you might have to practice a lot.
Yes.
Like us, I'm introvert and shy. He is also introvert, socially anxious person. In that situation, you have to practice a lot not to be shy in front of other people.
Yes.
So get used to it. If you are starting right away with your step 1, I would suggest you to start communicating with people and preparing for your interviews. That I've always been saying in other videos as well. Regarding asking questions, ask as much questions as you can to the interviewers, but then also get to know about your programs, because they, I think, would want to take a person who is more interested in the program rather than a person who is not interested in the program at all. So be prepared for the interviews since the very beginning. That is what my suggestion and his suggestion would be. Actually. All right, guys, I think that would be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope I would be able to get more contents, more videos, and more people. If you want to ask anything to Dr. Faragallah, anything about Egypt or anything, then you can always reach out to us. And hopefully, if you want to know more about his journey, then we can make another video as well. Ask the questions us in the comment down below. Hopefully, see you again. Good luck, guys.
Okay. Good luck, guys.
All right.